Right, now we're with Jim from Jimmy's Iced Coffee, so not a tech company like the other ones that I was speaking with yesterday.
No.
Interested to hear more about your company. Tell us what it's all about.
Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Jim. I run a company called Jimmy's Iced Coffee with my sister. We're basically a range of what we describe awesome, ready-to-drink iced coffees, which aren't these. See, there's just bottles of water. But it's basically a 330ml carton that you can pick up in supermarkets and stuff. And we're based in Bournemouth. We've got about a team of 11 and having lots of fun, which is great.
And so where did the idea for setting up this company come from?
A very long story put very, very short. I graduated from Bournemouth University doing events, and I basically spent every summer from my graduation working at music festivals, which was really, really fun. And then winters, I had to go back to Bournemouth and just become a labourer, moving bricks around and not having any fun at all. So summers were great, winters were rubbish, and then I basically just hit rock bottom one day thinking, I don't want to be working in festivals anymore, and I don't want to be a labourer anymore. So I went to Oz, of all places, just to go and have a bit of a breather. Took my lady there. And it was there that I discovered ready-to-drink iced coffee in a petrol station. And it was basically the coolest thing I'd ever had in my life. Returned back to the UK, hoping to find something similar, and couldn't find anything similar, so I thought I could make my own version of that. So I got in touch with my sister and said, look, can you be my business partner, please? And she said, yeah, okay. So we borrowed some money off Mum and Dad, and we got busy, and here we are today.
Okay, and so when was that? What year was that?
So that was, we actually formed Jimmy's Limited in November 2010, and then it took 5 months to basically get our kind of, if you think of branding, packaging, and ingredients, we got all of those things basically sorted within the case of 5 months. Pitched into Selfridges on Oxford Street, just gave them a call and said, hi, can we sell our stuff in your store? And she really liked the product. So we launched in there on April 7, 2011, so it was those 5 months to get everything together.
Okay, and so how did you know how to go about doing all of that?
Had absolutely no idea whatsoever. I think mainly for me, because I wasn't coming from a background where I had a decent job and Bupa healthcare and company car and all these things. I was basically just, I had to do a leap of some sort, and I just thought this iced coffee thing could be my one chance to actually have a really, really good stab at running a company, which it has turned out to be so far.
So did you have any kind of mentorship along the way when you were setting up?
I rang a few people who I kind of admired who weren't in the same competitive kind of outset as us. So you just basically call up a company and go, can I speak to your MD or your head of operations, because I really like what you guys do and I'd like to have a chat with you about some stuff. And the chances are they get back to you and they kind of help you along the way. So when we first started, we were on rung 0 of the ladder, and there's a few people on rung 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you call them up depending on what kind of help you need. And now we're on rung 2 or 3, let's say, so we have people calling us going, dude, can you help me, because I don't really know how this works. So it's nice to kind of pay it back when someone's giving you some help.
And so you're now stocked in some of the, or most of the major supermarkets, aren't you?
Yeah.
How do you go about making that happen?
That's a really good question, one that we get asked a lot from small companies. So it's a case of, if it's you're trying to get into Tesco, for example, you've got to try and find the buyer, so you can stalk them on LinkedIn, you can hang outside their head office, you can guess their name, you can call the reception and go, hi, I need to speak to the milk buyer, is it still Sally Cheeseman? And they say, no, it's not Sally Cheeseman, it's David Thornton. And then you go, okay, david.thornton at uk.tesco.com might work. So you send that, and then if you get a reply, that's kind of handy. But it's basically by any means.
So finding creative ways to get in touch with the right people.
Yeah, mostly if you do end up sending an email, it's just a boring email. But if you're happy to stand outside HQ dressed up in a giant carton suit, which I did once at the UK soft drinks conference, they kind of you get their attention a little bit better. And if they see that you're really passionate and you've gone the extra mile to get their attention, then chances are they'll give you a little bit more time.
Okay. So what would you say have been the major challenges in setting up your company?
Oh, there's so many. Just running a company is a massive challenge in the first place. I'm not like an intelligent guy. I've got a bit of common sense, and that's about it. So I've had to learn so much along the way, which is the best thing, because you learn from mistakes, and the only way you can learn is by doing stuff by yourself. You can't just be told things. but just trying to deal with things like cash flow and staffing is actually a really hard thing to do, finding the right people who are just super passionate about what you do. Just things like learning how to sign up your car for London congestion charge and not get charged like £120 when you go through, when you should just sign up online and do it. There's challenges every single minute of the day. Yeah, just too many.
Okay. Despite these challenges, I read that an interview with you last year that you were on track to turn over 3.5 million last year. Is that correct?
We did 3.1.
Okay.
Which is really cool. So that equates to, we were doing about 450 cartons every hour on the hour, 24 hours a day, which is a nice way of trying to understand how much we kind of get through. And for me, if I was thinking about that 6.5 years ago, which is when we launched, I would think that's a pretty cool place to get to. So we want to try and get to about 5 million this year. We've just brought on a really, really rad new sales director lady she's just awesome. She comes from an amazing background of work through her career. And we went to a co-op meeting with her yesterday, and she's just on the ball way better than me.
Okay.
Which is great.
And we discussed off stage there that you're hiring someone to manage your marketing now as well.
Yes. So I currently do all of our marketing stuff. So if you follow us on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, we don't do Snapchat because I don't understand it. And yeah, so this lovely lady called Steph's going to come on board on the 21st of August. But that still means I'm still going to be running all the social media because we need to hire a social media person too, because it just gets so busy.
It's a minefield.
You can check in, there's reviews, there's messages, there's rants, there's raves, there's YouTube comments, there's replying on double comments, there's so much. And when people go, I tried to get in contact with you, and you're like, by which means? And there's a billion and one. It's not just like letter or email. It's actually letter, email, check-in response,
you
review.
You still get letters?
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we got a letter the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, a complaint actually. So I can't remember what we did. I think we replied by letter as well and said, sorry, here's a voucher or something.
Very good. So we've talked about the challenges that you face. What would you say have been the major kind of highlights or high points for you?
I think the fact that we're still here today, and if you go to a supermarket shelf and you see us, we could be on, let's say, Tesco Express in their meal deal section. We're sat next to Coke, we're sat next to Fanta, we're sat next to Starbucks, we're sat next to some of the biggest companies in the entire world, and there's a team of 11 idiots from Bournemouth who love the beach and have a really, really fun time and still actually get to play in their space. Which is a really cool achievement, I think. And I think personally for me, it was my biggest achievement was actually just being able to get a mortgage, which was the most amazing thing. I've been renting for my entire life, and the last 3 houses that I've been renting, or flats that I've been renting, the first flat didn't have a fire in it, the second flat had an electric fire, the third flat had a gas fire, and then I said to my wife, the next house we get, we're going to buy it and we're going to put a wood burner in there. And we did just that, and it was a really kind of like a massive personal milestone for me. It's nice to have a proper kind of fire going on, so that was cool.
Living the dream.
Yeah, it's great.
So we're coming towards the end of our time here. If you had any major or any key points that you'd advise entrepreneurs out there that are looking to set up their own companies, what would they be?
I think you have to be just a tiny bit crazy. Because if you're not crazy, you'll just think very just normally and accept that everything's just going to be a no. So you have to have that little twinkle in your eye to just go, this is definitely going to work.
And I guess to manage the expectations that it's not always going to go your way, so you need to be able to think around problems that...
Yeah. We've had so many no's in all these different scenarios, and you've just got to figure out ways of either binning them off and get someone else to say yes, or just make them say yes eventually, come back with better data or come back with something else. But I think fundamentally the idea that you have in your head has to won't let you go to sleep, and then when you finally do go to sleep and you wake up, it's the first thing that's on your brain. Because if you wake up and you're not thinking about what your kind of passion or desire is, then the chances are you might just scratch your bum and then get back into bed and then not really worry about what you want to do. But with the iced coffee thing, it was this just unrelenting itch in my brain that just didn't go away, hasn't gone away, and won't go away until I don't know when.
Brilliant. Okay, well, I think we'll finish it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much indeed. Cheers.
Cheers.